All right, guys, we are back again this week with the final episode of part one of Attack on Titan's fourth season, episode 16. I believe
Yeah.
Above or Below was the title. Really great episode. I really enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. We got to see some things that I think we've been wanting to see for a while. Just
Mhm.
the Warriors finally attack.
Definitely.
And yeah, like last two episodes, there's been a lot revealed, especially around like Zeke's euthanization plan and stuff.
Mhm.
So this was also like not too much was revealed about that, but it was just good to sort of process that for this episode.
Yeah, we also, as you said, got a lot of progression in terms of like conflict.
Mhm.
We got to see the start of, and I'm so furious that they did this. They left us on a cliffhanger as to
Yeah.
how the battle was going to go, but we got to see the start of like a major conflict between like Aaron and the Marley and Warrior. So that should be interesting to see once
Mhm.
we get back into the series, however long that takes. But yeah, I think with that being said, let's just get into the analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Zeke has this little premonition of what I think most people assume to be Ymir. Um, and what my sort of theory is for what happened here is Zeke is dying as he just stated, he doesn't really like have much mental processes, so it's unlikely that he would be able to call forth this Titan to come like take this complex order, open themselves up and put Zeke inside them. So I think this is like some weird connection between Zeke and Ymir, which is his ancestor technically.
Mhm.
And Ymir is the one who's sort of going and protecting Zeke.
Yeah, I agree. I think it may have something to do with his royal blood, or even
Mhm.
the fact that Ymir's will is kind of co-aligned with what he's trying to do. Because as you said, it doesn't seem like he would be able to have like the cognitive ability to actually summon that Titan there and do all that because he was pretty much dying at that point, or he was dying at that point. So it seems
Mhm.
like some other entity manipulated that Titan to have it go there and save him. And the fact
Mhm.
that I think he has a royal blood could be one explanation, but the other explanation could just be that that's also Ymir's will, and maybe she's doing something there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next, I think, semi-significant thing in this episode is as we see Pete comes in and saves Gabby. But I think the more significant thing here is what's kind of going on with Gabby. I think a big theme in this whole season is the fact that like Gabby and Falco are like the future in some degree, and that Gabby has to undergo some kind of change in order for that to happen. And we've seen, if I think more significantly in the past few episodes, Gabby kind of being forced in situations where her ideals are being tested, I would say. We saw that with the episode where she was with Sasha's family, and we're seeing it again here, where uh, I believe Peak directly asks her, like, "Are we Marleyan or are we Eldians?" And she said, "The one thing that we can't escape is the fact that we are subjects of Ymir." And just throughout this entire situation, Gabby's been very hesitant to act on against Aaron, but it could just be the fact that she is terrified as to what's going to happen. But yeah, what did you think about all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it brought an interesting viewpoint in because, you know, later on when Peak ends up pointing at Aaron and saying that he's the enemy, she
Hmm.
says that she'd never betray her comrades. Um, and so it seems that there are these like radical viewpoints. Aaron holds one, right? That like we got to do whatever it takes, even betray your comrades to save Eldia or whatever he wants to do. It's not so clear.
Yeah.
Um, and then maybe there's like the people who are in charge of Marley who, feel that you have to keep all the Eldians locked up in the internment camps. But what Peak has and what it seems like most of the like Levi crew has is the idea of like loyalty to your comrades, which
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like such a mind-blowing thing, but it is the thing that drives them. And I just wonder like whether their loyalty to their comrades will pay off or not, or whether they'll be punished for like not thinking bigger, I guess.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting to see how things are going to be resolved after, I think, this battle specifically, because it seems like there are a lot of different ideals clashing in this. We have like Aaron and Zeke and their followers, the Jaegers, on one side. Then we have all the people of Parodies who are directly against that, so they can't fight for him. But then they also have a common enemy, which are the Marleyans and the people invading. So it's kind of a three-way battle where all sides are at ends, and it's kind of interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see which sides take what side.
So we do get a weird scene here where Yelena is basically explaining to the Levi squad, plus some extras, Zeke's plan of euthanizing the Eldians, and she's kind of like gushing over how cool it is. And while she's doing this, Armin starts to cry.
Hmm.
He starts to basically get moved by what she's saying. That's what he says. My heart's been moved. And this is not so easy to come to a clear reason, but I think the most logical thing would be that Armin is sort of just setting up his escape for the future. I think Armin is somebody who like reads people very well, and he can tell that since Yelena is gushing so hard over like the nobility and the greatness of what they're doing, that that's kind of her language, like just being moved by these crazy things. And so Armin is, I guess, trying to signal to Yelena that, hey, I'm one of you. I don't think he actually is like that. He's never really acted like that in the series before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he just kind of figured out what drives Yelena and then is trying to use that against her.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, as I said earlier, there are the three sides in this battle that's to come. But as of right now, it's only really two that are out and able to fight. Armin and like all of his crew, the big notable people on that end are all kind of locked up right now. You know, Levi's down bad and Hanji's over there too. So I think he is setting up for his eventual escape. And then after that, we'll see the third party intervene in the battle.
Mhm.
Something else minor to note, I don't know if this is even anything. It's just something small that I thought about. Is we've seen like the fact that Bertholdt's memories have somewhat impacted Armin, and I thought if the first thing that we've been discussing is wrong, and that maybe is what's happening here, the fact that maybe Bertholdt was touched by this, but again, I think it's the first one. Just thought I'd mention that. Yeah, so the final significant part of this episode is when Peak finally gets on the roof with Eren and is supposed to point towards the enemy, and she turns. Surprise, she points at Eren, and then we see Galliard's almost redemption. You know, he's been down bad for quite some time now, and we get to see him almost get Eren here, where he bites off, I think, like a limb or something, but he doesn't fully get to do it, which was a nice little callback to how bad he was treated before. He finally got like a little bit of payback. But yeah, I think that leads into something that you were talking about, one of a more significant thing with Ryan and Eren. So
Yeah. So it cuts to the airships coming, and Ryan is on the airship, and Eren, while he's in his Titan form, looks over, sees them, and I'm forgetting the exact line right now, but he says something like, "Come on, Reiner." Um, and this is the thing that sort of made me put together why earlier in the season Eren let Reiner live. So what now we know that Eren's aligned with this euthanization plan of all Eldians, and I think that Eren is sort of seeing himself in Reiner, and so because he sees himself in Reiner, he wants to show Reiner that there is another way. Like there is some solution that ends their like endless conflict of pushing forward, right? Like if Eren like ends Eldians basically in the future, then they no longer have to do this. And I think that, that's Eren's twisted view of reality, but that's what he wants to show Reiner. And that's maybe why he wants him to live, at least to hear the plan.
yeah, I agree with most of what you said. One thing I will note though, and I think I talked about this last time, is I am still holding out hope that Eren has another plan,
Mm-hmm.
and everything you still said fits, even if that is true. But
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that he doesn't go along with the euthanization, because I don't want to see this end with Eren being like killed or whatever. I mean, my heart doesn't want it, but as a viewer, that would be great. But yeah, I think that's all of the significant things in this episode. One thing to talk about is just how crazy they left us on this crazy cliffhanger. But we'll maybe get to see in the next year. I believe they said it's coming back winter of 22, so shouldn't be too long to wait. But with that being said, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys with more Attack on Titan once that comes out. Maybe we'll do some theories or something. But yeah.